Howdy. Thanks for stopping by the Down South Picking and Stacking channel. A little deviation from our normal content, which is precious metals, stacking gold and silver. And because our dishwasher has been broken, and if I don't get it fixed, Mrs. Down South is going to suffocate me in my sleep with a pillow. So aside from buying a new dishwasher that would probably cost me a kilo of silver, I've elected to diagnose and fix the problem. So what the problem is we're getting water. It's pumping the water out, but it ain't making the water wash the dishes. So why have a dishwasher if it don't wash dishes, right? So we're trying to figure out what the problem is, and there's 3 pumps on here. This is the water getting the water pump. This is the get rid of the water pump, and this is the uses the water to wash the dishes pump. So guess what? That's probably what's broke. So was looking at this, and so the water comes in, fills up this sump here, and it goes into here and goes up, and then it gets shot from this pump right around through here and then up into the whirly dihydrogen oxide cleaning machine up in there, spinning around, gets shot up in the top and spins around, comes back down here into this, right? And then this in here shoots it out, that big hose there, down to the river. So we're gonna have to get this off. But look at that, man, that's so crazy. Man, I break that off, and man, I put some old hazard fraught clamp back on there here in a couple weeks, and Mrs. Down South be like, "Jay, the dishwasher's leaking again." So I don't want to take this off, and I think we can get this off by taking off that screw, and there's one right around the back. So I got luckily has some snap-off tools that fits that little Torx bit right there. Now, if you ain't got fancy snap-offs, you can just get you a Torx bit and a 1/4 inch socket and stick her on there, and we just do that trick right there. And it seems like she wants to come out good and easy, you know. Probably almost get that with your fingers now. Yeah, look at that. So it's got a little washer on there. You can be spinning that washer. Maybe easier to do her like that. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. She's kind of long. Alright, so we're gonna stick that in a little parts tray so we don't lose her. And come back here to this one. And yeah, come out pretty easy too. Might lose space back in here, so may have to use our fingers a little bit. Get it out. Yeah, I got that one. Now, this one back here in the back, she's gonna take, I'll tell you what, we're gonna go ahead. Hey, when I pulled this out, I disconnected the old electrified wires, and I turned my breaker off first, and I disconnected my water from the water inlet here and all that. I got my water shut off, so we're doing everything good and safe. I may be a dummy, but I don't do dumb things. Here, we're gonna move the power right out of the way over here. If we can get her to, we'll just stick her back here. There we go. Now, you don't need to mess with these wires here. These blue wires go back to your heating element, and we're not messing with that. It seems to be working just fine, so we're not gonna mess with those. They're not really in the way for me to get back here, so I'm gonna get back to this screw back here. This one's the doozy. So, boy, it's hard to find that one. I got plenty of room, but There we go. Yeah. She's loose, but not a lot of finger room back there to... I could put a little extension on there, maybe. You know, if a guy had one of them little universal things, you know, if he ain't got a lot of tools, usually got those little joints you could put in there if you got to get back in there. But it seems like you got it pulled out, laid over on the side. You can work on it pretty easy. You can also disconnect all the wires and kind of to all the pumps and all that, the heating element and everything. And then there's these little tabs right here. There's 3 of them that runs around that tub. And if you got everything disconnected on the inside of the tub, you can pull this whole unit out up through the bottom and work on this on a bench if you needed to. So we're getting that screw out far enough we can almost work it with our fingers. I am not left-handed, so it's a little bit more difficult to get back there and operate, especially with that little washer on there. If they had one piece screws, look at that, she came right out. If they had one piece screws, wouldn't have to deal with that little washer. Now there's a gasket right here that moves by itself even when you're screwed in here, so we're not pulling this out. We're trying to pull this motor off of this. So let me see if we can get this thing loose here. Oh man, there seems to be an issue with that. So may need to stick a screwdriver or something in there to pry on it. We're going to pause. All right, found me a screwdriver. I'm gonna stick it. And what makes me think, you know, this motor burn up and bad is, see this sticker here? And that thing got hot and slid down. And it stayed in that position. It's been there a little while because it's got formed a crease in it. But let's see if we can get up in here. Looks like she wants to come out. Just need a little persuasion. Let's go this side over here. Yeah. 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 Look at that. There we go. And we got her out. And looks like there's nothing stuck in that impeller there. It's moving freely. And we got her out, and then we'll replace it with another motor. See if there's anything stuck. I don't see anything stuck down in the bottom down in there. That thing spins around. There's a little chopper in there, I think, that connected to that. See, that thing will come out if we had that hose off of there. I'm dropping my sticker. Yeah. Well, that's how you get the pump off, and then we'll put the new pump back on there and see what happens. Alright, so check this motor here. According to the diagram, this thing should be between 6 and 9 ohms, or 3 and 9, something like that.
we're at 6.3 on the motor winding, so, or resistance on the motor. I ain't poking it in there around the windings, but on this diagram here it says run winding 3 to 9 ohms, auxiliary winding 6 to 12, and we're over 6. So the motor itself should be good. And so I checked the capacitance on, now I've replaced this, but this is the old capacitor here. And I checked the capacitance on this and it was over limit, like it was open. So I thought this was my problem. So I just ordered another one of those and screwed it on, plugged it in there, and we're going to stick it in. And instead of buying a whole motor, we just replaced the capacitor, and we're going to see if it works.
Alright, so there's a little hook right here that hooks back in here up against this. So we gotta get that lined up. So it goes in that little doohickey back there. There's a rubber grommet it's got to get into. There we go. Get that screw started. It'd be a lot easier if that big hose wasn't right in the way. Put it back here now. Get that in there a little more. Well, here we go. That takes 2 hands to give her the beans. I did pull the front cover off of this and check to make sure that the fuse wasn't bad. This model on the panel itself, the control panel, the fuse is on the control panel. So if the fuse is bad, you have to replace the whole control panel. And thankfully, check that fuse. They got a little connection. If you read the little technical drawing there and instructions, they explain how to do that, and you can find that on the little front little plate you pull off the bottom of this. It's usually stuck to that, and it was. So I just followed the little directions on there, and everything was okay. I only had to check one fuse because it's got two, and it said if you're filling and pumping out, you know, your other fuse is good. You ain't gonna worry about that. So, but if your motor ain't running, you're gonna check that fuse. And I tell you what, I might have should have done that first, because there was a ant in here on the floor. There was a connector that was somewhat loose to that little prong that I had to run one of the probes to. So, you know what? I might have replaced this capacitor on this motor over a loose wire. Wouldn't that be all end all? I think I got that as tight as it'll go. We'll give this one a little more torque. There were no torque specifications for these bolts on that technical sheet. So, alright. We got this back in there. Looks like she's ready to pump and chop. So we're going to plug this back in. Okay. Make sure that thing is stuck in back there really good. It just about have to be, wouldn't it? Yep. And we're going to get this thing plugged back up and see how she runs. Woohoo! Well, looky here. Praise Jesus. She's running. I can hear the motor going in there. Let's open her up and see if it's squirting water. Woo! Yeah. About right my phone. Looky there. She's working, folks. Yep. Go back to working. Hope I didn't tear her up. Yep. I think I mashed the button too many times. She got us there. Yep. Uh-oh. Well, it's a thinking machine, folks. She's working now. Look at there. Thought I broke her. Open her up. Hey, that's what it took. Thanks for watching, folks.